Hi, my name is Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. Today I'm super excited to be taking a look at a rather special two-player game from the equally special board game publisher Salt and Pepper Games, and that game is the Battle of Versailles. If, like me, you heard the title without seeing the box cover, I'm betting you could be thinking of an entirely different themed game to what you will find here. The Battle of Versailles was in fact a fashion show held in France in 1973 in Versailles that pitted 5 American designers against 5 French designers. I'm not going to attempt the names of the designers and bring embarrassment to myself with my usual terrible pronunciations. Instead, they will magically pop up on the screen for your edification. The event was widely covered in the media and is considered a turning point in the history of fashion with, spoiler alert, the American designers ended up winning the competition and solidifying their place in the fashion world. But that was 1973. How do you think you will fare as one of the players in this two-player battle game? Who will win in 2023? Will it be America again, or will it be France? Well, before we find out what you need to do to take part in this battle of fashion, let's take a Fun with Boxes look at what you get inside this terrific two-player game. In the Battle of Versailles, players take the role of France or America, facing off against one another by playing action cards to show off their best dresses, attract the most popular celebrities of the time, and play events that will confuse and confound the opposing team. They also compete to contribute more than their opponent to the reconstruction of the Palace of Versailles, and each side will be seeking different paths to winning the show. France will be trying to keep its place at the top of the industry, while America will be trying to steal that prestige from them. So France will need to contribute to the renovation of Versailles for the sake of self-esteem and national honour, while America will try to show how innovative its dresses are. And both teams will be fighting to attract the most influential celebrities of the time. The game can last at most 5 rounds, where each side will perform different runway actions until one side meets their victory conditions and is crowned a winner, or the game ends with the winner with the most prestige. And completely keeping with its historical theme, the French player will have 5 actions per round, representing the classic but overly long show that France put on back in 1973, which ran for 2.5 hours. While the American player has only 3 actions per round, as their show was fresh, innovative and short and ran for a mere 37 minutes. Setting up the game is pretty straightforward. Place the board of Versailles on one side of the table, divide the Versailles tiles by their colour and shuffle each deck and place 6 tiles from each deck face down in their corresponding spaces on the board. Return the rest of the tiles to the game box and then turn over the 2 tiles in the centre column. Next we will build the runway in the centre of the table, all with the French icon in the lower left hand corner face up and facing the French player's side. They must be placed in this order. First the draw card tile, then the next 5 runway tiles are the double, that's with stripes on both sides of the tile, then single, then double, single and then double again. Then we place the income tile, followed by the designer tile, and then finally the prestige tile. Place the model standee on the draw card tile. Choose which side you want to play and sit on that side of the table. Then shuffle your small deck of 5 designer cards and place them face up next to the designer tile on your side of the runway. Finally, shuffle your team deck and place it next to the draw cards tile, again on your side of the runway. The Battle of Versailles features some clever and innovative two-player push and pull mechanics, where you can actually upgrade the game board to make it more advantageous for your side as you strut your stuff on the runway and blow the opposition away with your fashion sense. The game lasts for a maximum of 5 rounds, and in each round you perform the action available to you where the model is, and then the model moves to the next tile and you take the action available to you there, and then the model continues to move and you take any available action until the model finishes on the last card of the runway. That's the end of the round, and the model returns to the start of the runway and a new round begins. The game will end immediately if one of the players meets its victory conditions, or it will end after the end of the 5th round. Before we take a look at how to play the game, let's take a look at the tiles that make up the runway, how to use them, what they mean, and how you can upgrade them to make them more valuable to you and of less use to your opponent. The runway is made up of 9 runway tiles. You have the 5 core player card tiles along with the 4 specialist tiles, the draw tiles card along with the designer, income and prestige tiles. In the center of each tile is the action type, which tells you what the tile is and its action. The small French icon on the bottom left of one side of each tile is only used during the setup, where you make sure all cards have this face up and facing the French player. The round yellow circles are the lights on the runway and are an indication of how much better that tile's action is for you. The more light you have on your side of the runway, the better. The action strip shows 2 things. The coloured strip should always face the correct player, red for France and blue for America, and the icon on the strip tells you that you can perform the tile's action. Finally, this icon tells you what action is on the other side of the card and what you get if you upgrade it. Okay, with that out of the way, let's take a look at each card along the runway. The model standee starts off on the draw cards tile, and each player draws the indicated number of cards indicated by their side of the tile. At the very start of the game you have no cards, so this is how you get your first cards to play the game. The next 5 cards are the core of the runway and are all play card tiles. When the model reaches one of these, you must perform the indicated action on your side of the tile. You will notice that the player card icon is on all 5 tiles on the French side, but only on 3 tiles for the American side. This is in theme with the historical event, as France ran the much longer show. On the tiles where both players can play a card, you choose a card from your hand and play it face down, and whoever has the initiative, they will choose who reveals and plays their card first. If you are the only side to play a card on that tile, you would simply play it face up. There are 3 types of card in the game: dress cards, celebrity cards and event cards. No matter what type of card, each card has the draw cards / income icon at the bottom. This means that instead of playing the card for its main action, you can instead use it to draw cards or use it as income. To draw cards, simply place the card on the discard pile and draw the number of cards indicated. To play for income, place the card face down next to the income tile. The total income for each side will be added up when the model reaches the income tile. Dress cards. You play this card next to the current tile. If you already have a dress at that tile, place the card onto it to partially cover it, keeping the top left feature or prestige icon visible of the previous card. If you happen to play a dress card through various abilities during the game, the dress card is played on the active tile. That's the tile where the model is. But if the model is not on a player card tile, then you can place it next to any player card tile on your side of the runway. Each dress card has 1 or 2 qualities that will be used during the designer's action, and a prestige value that will be counted in the prestige action. Celebrity cards. You place the card into one of the free spaces closest to your side under the Versailles board, and perform the indicated action if there is one. If there is no free space to play the card, you discard your opponent's card that is closest to you and place yours in its place, but you do not perform the action indicated. Finally, you trigger the celebrity ability if it has one. But be careful here, because if either player has 7 of their celebrities in play, then they win the game. Event cards. Perform the event described on the card and place it in the discard pile. If the event allows you to move a dress, you can move one on either side, but it must stay on that side. It may never switch teams, and you cannot move a dress that is partially covered by another dress. If the event allows you to swap adjacent tiles, everything associated with the tiles, that's dresses, etc., are all swapped along with it. Designer action. Starting with the player with the initiative, each player checks to see how many pairs of icons it has from its designer in play. For each matching pair, the indicated bonus is awarded, awarding the bonuses from left to right. You may see this icon on the player card tile and designer's tile. This counts as a wild dress feature for use only with the designer tile. Income action. At this tile, starting with the side who has the initiative, the player decides whether or not to play a card face down next to the income tile. Then both sides reveal all income cards face up, add up the amounts of the cards, plus any bonus income from the income tile. The player with the highest value then gets to choose 2 tiles from the Versailles board. If the loser has at least half the income of the winning player, they get to pick 1 tile from the board, otherwise they get to pick nothing. When taking a tile, only the ones face up are available. As soon as the tile is taken, its effects are triggered immediately, and then any tiles orthogonally adjacent to it are turned over. These tiles remain face up in your play area, and you will notice that most tiles have French flags on them. If the French player has these, they will count towards their victory condition of collecting 15 or more flags. Finally, all income cards are discarded from the game and do not go to the discard pile. Prestige action. When the model reaches this tile, both players add up all their prestige points visible from their play dresses, from their designer in play, any prestige points from the prestige tile, and points from their celebrities. You then compare the totals and apply the difference to the prestige track on the Versailles board, moving the token towards the team who had the most points. During the game, you will need to keep an eye on who is ahead, because this is one of the instant win conditions for the game. Before we talk about the various ways you can win the game, there is one more thing I'd like to tell you about, and that is the upgrade icon action. This, I think, is a great mechanic and so in keeping with the theme. If you remember, I said that the yellow circles on the tiles are the spotlights on the runway. The more lights on your side of the tile, the better that tile is for you. When you see this icon, you can upgrade the relevant runway tile. To upgrade the tile, you can rotate it or flip it so that you have 1 more light turned on than you had at the start. If it's already at its maximum level, then you cannot upgrade it any further, but you do get a prestige point instead. The end of the game. The game ends after the 5th round, but can also end immediately if one of the following conditions are met. If either side fills all 7 spaces with their celebrities, they win immediately. If France manages to obtain 15 flags, they win immediately. If America manages to display 6 different qualities of dresses in the same column, they win immediately. And if either side reaches the end of their prestige track, they immediately win. But if none of these conditions are met, after the 5th and final round, the player with the highest prestige will win. And if the token is on the 0 space, France wins. And there you have it. I hope this helps you get an idea on how the game plays and also helps you with your first play of this brilliant game. Well, what a great 2-player game. We seem to be really spoilt with great 2-player games at the moment, and I feel this one is right up there and certainly one of the best we have played this year. The first thing I have to say is you do not have to be a fan of the theme to enjoy this game. If you are not that interested in the fashion world, then you may be tempted to look past this when you see it on the shelf. But to do so would be a big mistake. This is a brilliant 2-player battle game where you will be really battling for victory throughout the game. And if you're like me, you will have no idea of the historical theme behind the game. And this is another reason why I adore this game, because the rulebook has a few pages of historical notes and information all about what happened at the Battle of Versailles. And that is great to have should you wish to read up on it. Rather ironically, this is the first of 2 games based in Versailles that I am looking at. Both are 2-player games and both historical, and both not to be judged by their game box covers. Coming up soon on the channel, I'll be taking a look at GMT's Versailles 1919, a 2-player Eurogame based on a political competition over issues between the great powers as they write the treaty that would end World War I. Again, perhaps not a theme for you, but what a fantastic 2-player game that also comes with historical notes and is a great push and pull battle of a game. Check that out if you like the sound of that. But back to the Battle of Versailles, I really cannot recommend this enough. This is a terrific 2-player game that plays in under 30 minutes. It's quick to set up, fun to play, and you will want to play another game as soon as you finish it. This is right up there with the best and is now one of my favourite 2-player games. If you see this about, pick up a copy, you will not be disappointed. Well, as always, thanks for watching and please take care. Bye for now.